Sorry about that. You'd think I'd be better with this because I do this every day, but every day something goes off and it just completely derails me, and I'm not. This is why I'm such a creature of habit. I try to do the same things on a schedule every day and set things up every day to be ready for the next day, because when I don't, things go wrong and it messes up and I feel like garbage. So, hi, I'm here. I'm sorry about yesterday. Yesterday kind of ballooned out of control for me. Speaking about the things not going the same. It took me the entire day to do a single bit of work for my job. So I spent most of the day yesterday feeling extremely unaccomplished. So, and honestly, I wasn't really sure how the rest of this week was going to go because I have family here. So, yeah. They're visiting, but they were kind enough to duck out so that I could work and do this and do my therapy. So I'm here, and I'm not alone because it's Tuesday. And Tuesdays means everybody should say hello, Jealous Mike.
Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody. Wait. Hello.
Hello. How are you?
Sleepy.
What else is new?
Sleep. Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Yeah, it's like, what else is new? So, how are you doing? We know how I'm doing because I just said it.
I have what I believe is supposed to be my final disability evaluation tomorrow at 2.
Oi, no pressure.
I'm trying not to think about it.
This is the one where once this is done, the rating is permanent?
I believe so. I know that there's X number, and I think this is the last. What I'm not sure about is if this is the last one or not.
Because I remember you saying a couple of years ago that there are 3 total. The initial one, and then a reeval like at the 1.5 or 2 year mark, and then a third one.
It's been so long since I looked it up. It could be 5, but I'm pretty sure it's just the 3.
Looking it up by itself is stressful.
Yeah, finding anything about, well, whatever. But again, my goal is to just be honest. That's always been my goal.
Mm-hmm. Yes, but you're not as functional. You were better. You kind of had a high, and now you're kind of back down. So maybe this is happening at a good time.
I think so, because my last one, the middle one, the initial. Okay, when I say the initial, what I mean is it was the middle one, but
yes,
they do the evaluation, and then the people that actually do the evaluation aren't the ones that make the decision on ratings.
Yeah.
So the evaluation was done, and they recommended 70% instead of 100%, and then the final determination was kept at 100 because of information from therapy.
Yeah, they wouldn't. Yeah, my therapist had some choice words to say about their decision to not increase my rating.
It's stupid because, like, if you have one office saying we can't give you this benefit because you're not disabled enough,
yeah,
and another office saying you're too disabled, or no, you have one office saying you're too disabled for this benefit, and another office saying you're not disabled enough.
Mm-hmm.
It's like,
which is
what the hell? Yeah.
If I haven't wanted to think about it, but I do know that if I do have the conversation with the I don't know what you call them. I forget the word. Advocate. The advocate group. If I do have the conversation with them about it, I'm probably going to ask if bringing the letter from the Voc Rehabs with them stating, "Look, we can't help you because." Because I don't think the rating review had this. What I also don't know is where this review, since it's kept it where it was, where this falls into the reevaluation queue. Because technically this is my third, because they screwed up the first one, and then we had to do a second one to fix it, and now this is the third one.
It's more of a this many years. That's why I think I'm getting 5 and 3 confused.
It's possible.
Because I think it's 5 years, 3 evaluations.
Yeah, which means I'll have to do another evaluation if they base it on when the one that they fixed, because they backdated the pay, so that means they should have adjusted. Actually, no, I don't think they did. I have to look at that. It'll be interesting to see when they mark the 3 and 5 year mark.
Because I think it's every 2 years, and you have 3 total. Now, like a redo wouldn't count towards that 3 total, I doubt.
Yeah. I don't know. I can tell you that I don't. Okay, so this is a nice way to talk about what my day's been like. So I started off the stream by saying, you'd think I do this every day, you'd think I wouldn't make these simple mistakes, yet every day something happens and it completely derails me. And it's every single day something derails me. And so it's these little things that you just don't think matter, but just not having things sitting in the same place can completely screw me up, because trying to find it is not something that I accounted for in my daily schedule. And so then I get behind, and as soon as I get behind, I start feeling the pressure, and I can't work with the pressure. I have to start working so I feel like I'm ahead, because if I don't start like that, then it just spirals and I get nothing done. Which is why, in part, Voc Rehab said they couldn't help me, because that there isn't a job on the planet that does not create that pressure, and there's no way I could keep employment if I can't deal with, like, if I show up 5 minutes late because of traffic, I'm screwed. Because I will start behind the curve.
That's something that I think anybody that goes into an evaluation needs to be clear about. It's like the person doing the evaluation, I don't know, really considers from an employer's perspective the impact of what the things that you're telling them. I don't know that they think of it from an employer's perspective, and so I think it's probably helpful if people state it like that. It's like, it may only be 3 or 4 days a week that I have these problems, but what employer
is going to be willing to put up with that?
Yeah, it's like, legally, federal law dictates that if you're disabled and you inform the employer, they have to offer reasonable accommodation. But
if they don't hire you in the first place,
well, when it comes to accountability, like not accountability, but reliability, if they can't rely on you, like, there is no reasonable accommodation for people just not being able to work.
There isn't. There's no accommodation for it, and this is it's a huge problem here in Texas. At least I don't know about elsewhere. This is just where my experience is with it. There's a huge problem here of employers refusing to hire people that have service dogs. If they find out they have a service dog, they just won't hire them because they don't want to have to make the accommodations. That's illegal. But if they'll just find some other reason, so that won't be the reason.
I think it would probably depend on the employer. So, like food services, that wouldn't be illegal because you can't make a reasonable accommodation for.
I wouldn't apply for it. Yeah, I wouldn't apply for a job like that. But a regular office. So I mean, but the experience is across the board. It's not just there are certain jobs where they could just say, look, we can't have an animal in this location because. And the public access laws don't apply to that. And if you're applying for a job like that and you know that and you apply anyway, I'm sorry, but you asked to be rejected. What the issue is they're applying to places that don't have that kind of requirement, and they're them because they find out they have a service dog. It's also this balance of experienced it also as a reservist. I have to wait until very late in the thing, and some reservists, especially IMAs, say don't tell them that you're a reservist until after they've made you an offer, because they'll just find a reason not to. So I guess
I would say
reservist, I get it as a person with a disability, and now I get it as a person with a service dog. That's three things that I have to take into account for when I go in to look at a job.
I'll say 2 comments on that. The reservist part, I think, is probably a worse off situation for you, because there's no real benefit for the employer to hire you. Because it's like, hey, if you get called up, they're required to hold your spot for a certain amount of time.
Yeah.
And like, they can't even hire somebody to replace you unless it's a temp worker. Whereas the disabled part, this is what I don't get, is if they can give you an accommodation, they have like 1 or 2 months, but if they file the federal forms, they get a crap ton of money back.
Oh yeah, I know. They tell us that
it's a ton.
Yeah, when I went to Voc Rehab, one of the things they were talking about was that whole things you need to tell, things that you need to say to them when you do this, is all the benefits that they get. But see, the problem for me is most of those benefits, those tax exemption things that you're talking about, and things like that where the government will basically pay them to employ you.
Some small employers just don't want to do the paperwork, and I'm like,
well, but they have offices in Texas. They have entire offices that will do that for them, just so the veteran will get employed. So here they don't even have that. No, the problem here is all of those programs that I face, all of those programs are tied to some form of job training. And that was where the Voc Rehab people basically looked at me as much as they could in the face, because I couldn't look at them in the face, and said, we can't help you because you made decisions in your previous life before all this happened to you that tie our hands. You're too educated.
You really got to talk to the advocate.
But see, the thing is, I may have to talk to a different advocacy group. TVC is great. Texas Veterans Commission is great, and I'll go back and I'll ask them these questions. But I may have to go to a different group. I have a Haggard suggested one that I talked to.
Go to the DAV.
Yeah, that was the one he suggested. After the move. I don't need it right now. After the move. That's another thing on my day yesterday. You want to know why my day yesterday ballooned out of control? Trying to take care of things around the house, plus do some work, so I was getting some of the paid work done that needed to be done. And then the pressure of wanting to start the hot potato and get it off right, knowing I was not going to be able to give my best attention to it. And then Zoe, she was here all day, and she was doing her. I mean, this kid has been golden the past several days in terms of getting her stuff done. And the reason why, because she is extremely motivated right now to play The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time on the 3DS. She is keeping me on my toes with my chores, because a lot of her chores are tied to my chores. There's parts that I have to do and parts that she has to do. So she's basically lifting some of the load from me. And she'll come to me. She came to me multiple times yesterday going, you need to do your part so I can do my part. Because she wanted to earn more time on the game.
I think that's healthy, like having kids' chores tied to...
Yeah. It's teaching her to work in cooperation, and it's also showing her how lifting the load from us makes it easier for us to do things with her.
And it gives her a lot more visibility on the adults' responsibilities too. Like, it's not just I'm a kid so I get chores.
And I should also say, this is the same kid who today, when I got, I'll talk about this in just a second. This is the same kid who earlier today had to step in and provide me an anchor back to reality because I got triggered. She did that on her own. She didn't need me to ask for it or nothing. She saw what was happening. She inserted herself in, gave me something to latch onto, and brought me back enough that I could drive us home.
Good. Yeah, you said you were not even sure how you got home.
So yeah, today was her appointment. She's been taking part in an ADHD study. The kid has been playing this game. She's been in the study for like 5 months now, I think, and getting paid for it. The kid is being paid to play video games. She's 12 years old and she's being paid to play video games. So today was the final visit. Oh, we get one more. We got to check today. We get one more in the mail. The kid is brought in. Let's just put it this way. At some points right now, the kid is bringing it through this study. She has brought in more money than I bring in a month outside of my disability. Yeah. So it was a no-brainer in terms of, hey, this is going to be a good for the family. But it's also been good for her. We've seen an improvement in her ability to manage her symptoms, and it gave me something that I could manage, that I could succeed at. So that appointment was today. I knew that was coming. So I got up and I tried to do work. Got my work started. I got through a couple of cuts before we left. There was just a little bit of difficulty getting out the door. So we ended up getting there, and she had to go in and sign in, and I had to walk the dog, which was a good thing I did, because he needed to see a man about a horse. And so I went in, we did our appointment. I've done it 3 times now. The first time I went, I'm not going to lie, I was very nervous about it, but the guy who I spoke with, he was very understanding. He kept his voice even. He did not interact with the dog until after I told him to say hello. So I can tell you that the difference between the first time and this time, talking to him, I was much more confident in sharing. So we did all that, and we go to leave. And I tell Zoe to go wait in the car. I go to walk the dog. I go to step out. I was already feeling exhausted, and knowing that when I got home, family was there, because my wife's family's visiting. Although I wasn't sure if they were going to be there or not. So I go to lean out to look around this van to see if it's okay to go. And I didn't. I had to step a little bit off the road just to see, but there was a big van right there. I was behind the van. There was no way, and it was like 5 feet from the van, so there was no way anything was going to hit me. So I looked to the right, and I could see that there were no more cars coming. And as I was turning my head to the left to confirm, because I knew one car was there and it was going past, as I was looking to the left to confirm if another car was coming, someone just, like, right next to me, it's obvious that I'm not going to be able to make it out in front of them from where I am, just blasts their horn as hard and loud as they could. I don't remember crossing the street. I barely remember hugging the dog before I went back across the street, and I don't remember getting him in the car and getting him set. I just remember that I was sitting in the front seat. Every ounce of me was shaking. And Zoe reached over and put her hand on my face, and then reached over with her other hand and grabbed my shoulder and pulled me over to her and just said, "Hug me." And then she started talking about her game. It was exactly what we needed, what I needed.
Something to get your mind off.
And actually she was even better than that. She's like, "Hey, I have a problem. Can you show me what to do in the game?" And it was perfect, because this is Ocarina of Time. I got this game memorized. So I opened it up, I looked at it, and I was like, have you done this? And she needed the Scarecrow song. For those of you who've played the game, you need the Scarecrow for certain parts of the Water Temple level and other secrets. And I asked her if she did this. She had no clue what it was. I said, "You need to go back to this point in the game and get this." She's like, "Oh, okay." That was all it took. It was another problem, something that I could solve in a thing. The kid, she's too smart for her age sometimes. That got me home. So we come home, let the dog walk for a second, see if he needs to pee, and go inside. And I did not see a familiar car outside. So I thought, okay, they're not here yet. So I can go in, I can spend a little time with Michelle and just calm and center myself, and then get to work. Walk in, nope, they're standing there waiting for me. Complete ambush. I had to focus on the dog, make him say hello, get his stuff off, and then get out of the room, and I went and hid in my bed.
Yeah.
Okay, so think about that. A car honked. I had to go to an appointment, and I had family and some visitors in my room. Those used to be like, okay, whatever kind of things. I have to do it. Family, hey, I haven't seen you in a while. Let's chit chat. And a car honked its horn. I was exhausted before the car honked the horn. And then I had to drive home. I barely remember that. I don't feel functional.
No.
I don't. And the work that I do, it's tailored to my schedule, but it takes me sometimes 2 or 3 times as long as they say it should to get it done, because It has nothing to do with distractions or anything like that. I get myself up early so there are no distractions in the house. I set myself up to succeed at that stuff, and I still end up working 2 or 3 times longer on things, from what I can tell from browsing my works forums, than most people do. And I'm working as hard as I can. It's like, how do you consider me functional if I can't make it through a car honking its horn at me?
It's mind-boggling. Yeah.
Exactly. Sometimes there just are no words. And it's just so stinking frustrating because I want to be able to have family come visit and not panic about it. I want to be able to hear a car honk its horn and maybe get startled. We're not talking about not being startled by a horn. Anybody would have been startled by a car blasting its horn right there. It's what happened next. Me not being conscious of what was going on around me, except for the dog. That was a good thing that the dog was there, because it gave me something to latch onto and focus on. But I mean, and that's his job. So I'm glad he was there. I mean, if he wasn't there, I probably wouldn't have been. So anyway, I'm going to keep talking, but I'm going to start taking my turns.
Yeah, I'll take over. What you said about you would rather be functional, it's like, who would choose? Like, even if you're being paid, if you really, really, really sit down and think about it, when you were growing up, summer breaks, if you could go to camp or you could go to activities, that's great. But like, think about the times during summer when you were growing up where you couldn't do anything. Like, your only choices were like, okay, well, I can go out and play, or I can watch TV. It's just boring day after day after day after day. You have all of your needs taken care of by your guardians, but would you have not wanted to be able to do something? And I try to think of it like that, because my old job, you know the job I'm talking about. I'm not talking about like working at Best Buy or the archaeological lab or any of the little things.
I was really jealous of you working at that archaeological lab.
Oh, it was fantastic. But it's like the other job, the big job, the bad job.
The job that screwed us up.
You're talking about incredible pay, just fantastic pay, flexibility in scheduling. I was essentially my own boss. Like, I never actually met. I worked for my company for like 2 years in total in the 2 different stints. I never met, other than a couple coworkers, I never met anybody from my company. I could just take a day off if I wanted to. Mm-hmm. So great pay, a relatively flexible schedule, a lot of time off, just perfect. And I was good. I was really good at it.
Good enough that he was able to help me with a project that I was working on that was... He gave me the shove in the right direction that I needed for that project, which now I wish I'd never come up with that thing. Well, that's a different story.
Of course, I wish I was able to do that kind of job, to work. Mm-hmm. I mean, really, I don't want to be the person that could stomach that, what I was doing, but it's just, of course I want to be functional. I would give up all of this disability if I could just be back to who I was. If I could just be a normal, functioning person again. The money is not worth it.
No, it's not. Can you hear other sounds in my house?
No.
I don't know. My microphone is just constantly sending signal, and I don't know where it's coming from.
Yeah, I see that the light is on, but I'm not actually hearing anything.
You mean on the microphone?
I can see in Discord, I can see...
Oh yeah, it's constantly going off. But yeah, and I see it in my. I don't know what's causing it.
There's no sound coming through.
Yeah, I don't know what's causing it.
It's probably just a very, 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 very quiet or low sound that is present. It's just too quiet to actually hear.
But yeah, I said earlier, what did I say I wanted to talk about? Let me see. Let me scroll back up. Unrealistic expectations that build in your mind from wondering about those around you think. Now that was specifically dealing with family, but it's everything. I think the expectation that they had of me when they did that review. Think about what I'm thinking. Think about what that's doing in my head.
Mm-hmm.
With that piece of paper sitting over there, from them telling me, basically, screw you.
Yeah.
We broke you, and we're declaring you functional enough that we don't have to do anything to help you beyond what we're doing already. And then combine that with the fact with how my day started, with feeling intense pressure to perform and not getting enough done, and then having to go out of my comfort zone, even though it's a familiar setting. It's still, I had to leave. I had to break the routine of my day. It took me, I had to plan this in my schedule 3 weeks in advance just so I could make sure I didn't miss this. And then having someone just basically be a rude jerk to me with their horn, and then coming home and being ambushed by family. It wasn't even 12 o'clock and I was already hiding in my bed wishing the day was over.
Mm-hmm.
And the only reason that I'm standing here doing this is because talking about it here makes me feel better. But by the way, it's your turn. It's absolutely demoralizing, especially because you think, and my wife just said the other day that she thought I've been doing well, like at church with our group there, with our class. The group that we have at church. Well, that might have been part of it, what the mic was picking up the dryer. I didn't even realize it was on. Most people, when you say the word the church, they don't think of it as a place that's very open-minded and accepting. That's their own fault. I don't blame them for that. It's their own fault.
You're not looking for a church that
I'm not looking. Well, I said I don't blame them. I do blame them for that, but I don't. It's one of those. I'm not going to go down that road right now. It's their own fault that people don't consider them to be a safe place. The church that we've managed to find here defies that intentionally. But it's a social setting, it's a social group, and there are expectations of you when you go there. So this group that we hang out with on Sunday mornings after the service, it's like a Sunday school class kind of thing.
Yeah.
This group, so understanding as a whole, they don't expect me to talk to them. If they say hello to me, they do not expect an answer. They say hello. And they may say how they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Expect an answer back. A couple of them who are more friends, they may ask how Groot is doing. So they'll talk about the dog, but they won't talk about me. And I appreciate that. I'd rather talk about the dog. Except what I put on the board, like say as a request, they won't ask questions, and even then, they won't ask me, they'll ask Michelle first. And it's so, and when I need to speak up, if I decide I need to say something or something, they will all, as soon as they see my hand go up and it register, like someone will see it, and then they all just they'll put their hand up at their different tables, and it's like this cue. Everyone knows when a hand goes to the middle of your table, be quiet because I'm about to speak. And they'll get really quiet, so I don't have to project as loud, and none of them will look at me.
Oh, that's nice.
So, I mean, you're talking about 15 to 20 adults at various stages of their life who are all looking at me going, we'll do what we need so that you can feel safe and comfortable here, and you interact with us on your terms. That is so good for me. And so I do feel social, and I feel better there now. I'm willing to talk more now. I'm willing to speak up, share things. I'm willing to ask how people are doing there in that specific setting. And even my dog has started to get more comfortable there. He'll just come in, he sits in his corner, and he lays down. Because I think he's kind of figured out that I don't need him in there.
Mm-hmm.
I get that in most places. As soon as I came in the door, I expected, as soon as I realized family was here, I expected, and you know what you expect when you haven't seen family in a while. And that created this intense pressure that I could get, and I will give them this. They were very well restrained. My father-in-law patted me on the shoulder once, didn't look at me, and he spoke softly. And my mother-in-law spoke mostly to my wife and directed anything at me. So I will give them that. I'll give them that much. And that a lot of that goes to my wife because she prepped them. But okay, so back to what I said. I wanted to talk about that unrealistic expectation. And by the way, I said, "It's your turn. Take your turn."
I'm taking it.
Okay. I had to go hide in my room. I already said this. I go down, and I didn't turn the fan on because I was trying to make sure that my wife asked them a question about something that's happening later. So I set the device behind me. I changed one of the daily reminders to ask her, and she missed it the first time. So I had to keep listening to what they were talking about in order to make sure she caught it the second time. And she did catch it the second time, but in the process, I caught them talking about some of the things, like my rating, like the dog, and I'm just sitting there going, I don't want to be talked about.
Yeah. It's like, yeah.
No, but some things have to be talked about. I get that. I don't want to know they're being, because I now feel bad. Like I came in and I basically went and hid, and when I did get
humiliation.
up, it's really humiliating. Yeah, you're right. That's a good. It's completely humiliating. That's a good word. It's humiliating. I don't want to have to hide in my room just so I can be functional. No one wants to hide in their room functional. And these are people that have known me for a long time. For crying out loud, I married their daughter. So yeah, but I mean, yeah, I married their daughter, but yeah, there's a reason why we don't live in that area anymore. Honestly, I'm surprised my wife was doing as well as she was. Since the last time a visit happened, it didn't end very well.
Mm-hmm.
So, but my wife's a trooper. What do I have around here? I need to see. Toxic.
I've got a scout headed over your direction.
Gas temporal. That's fine. I'm just looking at my worlds to see what I have. Arctic, colonizable. They're all set. Monsoon. Nothing there. Those are all colonized. So, sorry, I'm looking up technology. We do play games here.
You're just fine.
Ice could be a good one. And then over here, what's here? This is ash.
I thought I was. So I'm in Cold War with this butthole, and I thought that Cold War would let you fight in neutral space, or if somebody came into your space. But he came in and attacked me in my space.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't think that was possible.
He's being a butthole.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. You can show him what for later.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. A lot of patience and future retribution.
my microphone is not catching the first things I say.
All I heard, I think the microphone is not catching the first things I say. So if you said something before that, then probably.
Yeah, I'm not sure what's happening. Try it like that and see.
I haven't gotten the impression that I've been missing anything.
I'm listening to the stream, and every time I go to speak, I hear things as a cutting out sound.
Yeah, because it would be a different sensitivity threshold for
So I'm testing.
slobs than.
I don't know. I think they may have pushed out another update. I turned the noise gate off for now. The noise gate was mostly on to cut out sound.
Yeah.
When I was out there. That sounds better, so we'll just leave it like that for now. I'm sorry.
You're good.
It's just I wish these things would choose to give us the choice about updates. They do these settings get tweaked all the time, and I just want to be able to turn this stuff on and do what I want to do and then be done with it. But every day, every single time I go to set up stream, something has changed, and it's in part because I have to do so much around for my work. I do what I'm going to do, make as a project when I get over to the other house, when I get over to the other apartment, is I'm going to work to fully convert her computer over to the streaming computer so that I'm not streaming and gaming from the same one. I think that's going to make a big difference.
Good.
I'm going to keep them here because I think the pirates are coming into my thing.
We've got a pirate system that should be just about dealt with.
So if anybody was, lurking around and was dealing with the annoying sound issues, I hope that fixed it. This is why when I go into someone's stream and I hear, something that could be fixed, I whisper them, either in Discord or if I'm in their Discord or on Twitch, I'll whisper them and say, hey, just so you know. That way they know. I'd rather know so that I can fix it. I need to look at these.
It's the little goblet. The
Yeah.
goblet up top.
Questions. Well, and then Discord is also. I like Discord for its function. What I don't like is the extras that they're adding.
Yep.
Because it is constantly, the more that I'll turn it on, and it's like each time I turn it on, it's becoming more and more of a system hog. And I just don't like it. I just want it for one purpose. That's it. And that's the only reason I want it. I don't need it for anything else. I do not need to have an ecosystem there to purchase and play games. Okay, so lifting the lamp. Okay, that's that. That's the darn. Okay, that's that. Where's the...
Possibly completed or failed.
Oh, this. I'm looking for the one that has to do with the population. Oh, I know. I'm supposed to praise them again, aren't I?
Oh,
when
yeah,
I can't.
that's what it was.
Remaining 2 turns. I'm checking. Yeah, I'm just checking them. Okay, cool. That's what I was.
I was wrong about being able to double up on it. You can keep pumping it, and it'll just add to the total pressure every turn.
Yeah, well, it's saying I have to wait 2 turns.
No. It's saying that current pressure level is going to be continuing for 2 turns.
Okay.
I'm saying you can bump the. I told you initially you can't repraise for extra pressure. But
Okay. Thank you for explaining. I got it.
Okay.
There we go. Cool. Don't I have... Yes, what is this? Yes. Now let's send this fleet down here. There. They have a probe. Let's launch this probe that direction. Okay. So I've been watching you play this. I said this earlier, watching you play this a lot, and I like what I see of the later game. It's just this earlier game stuff. I don't know. It just seems to drag a little.
See, I was thinking the opposite. The late game for me feels like it drags really badly.
Maybe.
But, I mean, it all depends on a person's perspective, so.
I mean, I guess it's like... I understand what you mean by the whole... When you get towards the later part of the game can start to feel... Because Civ 6, I could do a comparison to that, Civ 6 or Civ 5. When you get to a certain point in a 4X game, there's just so much going on, or everything is just basically running itself, and you're just kind of occasionally making decisions. Yeah, I understand. It is. I'd say. I don't necessarily say a flaw. It's just it's going to happen in a game like that. Oh. The fact that I'm actually doing this right now is just...
I thought you were not going to be playing.
It just... I skipped doing this yesterday, and I felt it. I got to the end of the day, and I was looking at my app where I do my daily things, and I was thinking, outside of playing that Jurassic World game, I didn't do anything fun today, like at all. And I was going to respond to your thing. The thing I like, see, the Jurassic World Alive game, I love and hate it. The part that I love about it, and I'm going to actually follow the device's advice and go and take a moment to do a bio break in here in a second. The thing I love about it is the going around and the catching the dinosaurs and the making the dinosaurs. That part I love. I hate the PvP side of it because it is so broken. As an example, yesterday I absolutely destroyed a player that was much higher than me with good strategy and poor rotation of his they give you have 8 dinosaurs to pick from for your team, and the computer picks 4 randomly and throws them in there. So the computer's choice of his team against my team was not advantageous for him. It wasn't like I had a killer team compared to him because I didn't have my overpowered dino killers. I didn't have the DPS. What I had was just good avoidance, good damage reduction, and one thing that could just absolutely destroy you. That was it. Mm-hmm. And the team that he fielded wasn't probably his greatest team, but I could tell by how many trophies I won that the player was much higher rated, and I destroyed him 3-0.
And there's no reason why you should have been able to do that.
Outside of poor strategy on his part and good strategy on my part, no, that was a good thing. So then I turn around and do another battle right away, and I lost that one 3-0 to a player who was my level. And you want to know why I lost that one? Because he had there are 2 dinos in the game that I consider broken, and it's not one of the ones that most of the players think is broken because they think it's cheating. Mm-hmm. It's this dino that has a 40% crit rate, and when it crits, it does damage that will take out just about everything except for your really high level things. It. Those are the only things that can survive it, and I don't have those. So at my level, that thing is overpowering, and it crit 4 times in a row.
Jeez.
There is no strategy. There is no defense. There is nothing that can withstand that. So I won a fight that I shouldn't have won using strategy and taking advantage of that player's poor choices with fielding its dinos. I'm not sure what he was thinking. I think he thought that because I was so much lower than him, it would be a walk in the park, and he just wasn't paying attention, and I just ended up walking all over him.
Yeah. But the point being that it's broken that you can do that.
Yeah. Well, that too, that I could do that, but also the whole, oh, there it is. I was trying to find the merge thing. And then I turn around and have another player come in who's at my level, who should have been more competitive, and basically he destroyed me like the other player should have. With no strategy, nothing, just 4 crits in a row. It's like, and the only reason I put up with it is because in order to get the resources necessary to just develop the dinos, I could care less about fighting in the arena. I don't want to do that. I just like having all of the dinos. But in order to do that, I need resources, because the game is unlike Pokemon Go. It makes you like pay in-game currency to evolve your dinos and breed new ones and stuff like that. And the only way you can, there comes a point where the only way you can really get a lot of quick, heavy gains in that is to get the incubators that you get from the battles in the arena. So it forces me to go in there to do, like, there's a daily set that you have to do, and then there's a couple other things you can do that they just give you resources that you need because they do that. It's just, if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't even touch it. the PvP side. But going around with Zoe, going around town and just finding different places and parking the car and grabbing things, because she'll watch and we'll go someplace. She's like, oh, hey, there's this, and we'll pull over and we'll catch it.
Yeah.
That's fun. I love that part. And it gets me out of the house. And it gives me something to focus on when I'm out and out around people. They may think I'm rude, but come on, people. The fact that I'm here. Okay, so event. Hear my last cry. What looked like a huge asteroid, fragment of an ancient planet. What makes it different are the remains of strange alien structures. What will you do before the planetary fragment flames into the sun? Send a team of science to get as much information as they can. Plus 1 random tech. Make them pay. Plus 10% influence. Is that what that is? The stars?
Yes.
And plus 10% dust. Or respect the dead. Plus 10% science. Plus 10% approval. For 10 turns. I don't know. I kind of think I want to do the random tech. Just, it's a tech I don't have to research.
Yeah.
Okay, so what did I get?
Yeah, depending on how much science you have, the tech can either be better or not as good. You know what I mean? Like, if you can accumulate enough with that extra science, if you can accumulate enough for the tech from it, then it's good. But
okay, so you were asking me a question about this when I'm looking at the effects in the battle. So I've got a prowler attacking me. Long range is 28%, medium 73%, short 69%. So it looks like it needs to get close. Mine are really good on short and close, so it's not going to be good for it, and all over the place.
well, and also go back to the other one. There's the weapons, and then there's the defense.
So you're talking about the prowler. Look at the prowler. Okay,
Yeah.
so 72 weapon, 160 defense.
So its defense is all in shields, which means that its offense is kind of balanced, which means your hull plating, I mean, either way will be good with your defense.
I'm just wondering about these effects thing you're talking about. 25% shield penetration or 25% hull plating on absorption on
So
ships.
he had shields, so shield penetration would be good against him.
Where do you
But-
see shields on there?
So,
How do you see?
So
How do you see shields?
so left,
Mm-hmm.
you have top and bottom. You have attack and defense. Left is projectile / hull. It's the physical.
Okay.
The right, the little energy mark, the little lightning bolt thing, is energy. So,
And so
energy
his
weapons,
defense, all being in energy, means shields.
correct.
And his weapons being, so he's got a little bit of energy weapon and a lot of projectile.
Yeah.
Okay, I see it now. Projectile energy balance. Okay.
So his if you had physical weapons against him, you would just rip right through it. So
this one has strong. This one has strong. Is all projectile and armor plating, and this one right here is energy.
you can also look at the numerical balance as well. So
Yeah, 73, 126, 36, 157.
something like a turtle would benefit your short range weapons.
I'm going to do plasma distortion because he's got shields. 25% shield penetration on weapon modules.
However,
He also gets it.
hold on.
Sorry, people, we're learning.
Shields do not protect against physical damage.
Okay, and he's...
So you already have your physical weapons already have 100% shield penetration.
Okay, so then I should do turtle. 25% hull plating absorption on ships.
Yeah, so I try to balance the benefit, like the text benefit. I try to balance that and the range.
Okay.
What's best for my people.
Okay,
Yeah.
here we go. We're gonna watch. It's time for a
Cool.
fight. Let us do battle. And I don't speed it up, people. Enjoy the show. Unlike
Do you do it on
unlike
overview mode, or do you do it on just let it go?
This.
However,
it's on stream.
no,
Oh,
I mean up at the top.
I don't know. I've never done the other cameras.
You
Never
can
did.
have the default is just it's like
Yeah.
watching a game on television. The overview just lets you see it all.
So what does free camera do?
You can move the camera around.
Oh, how do I look down?
It's weird.
It's
I
the
don't
middle
remember
mouse
the
button.
exact
It's the
controls.
middle mouse button. Zoom is scroll. Middle mouse button is left, right, stuff like that. And then
But
the
you can't
AS.
move the perspective of the camera really.
No. Let's go back to auto camera. Let's see what's happening. Let them do it. That's cool. I mean, this is an interesting aspect of this game that you don't get in, say, like Stellaris.
Yeah.
And one of my ships is just not having a good day. I mean, he's dying. But one of my ships is not having a good day. Look at that. Sparkly spark, spark, spark. Down he goes. Bye-bye.
But none of your ships got blown up.
That's the key. And that's one less pirate ship too. So how do I repair?
You have to
There, I just paid.
do it. Yeah, you have to be within your own
Yeah, I repaired.
sphere of influence. Did he retreat or is he dead?
He's dead.
Good.
I need to get a new hero.
Until somebody discovers the academy.
Okay. That's fine. Whatever, people, whatever.
You're light blue, correct?
Yes. I am the light blue. You are the dark blue.
I should be meeting you in not too terribly long. I'm halfway across the galaxy with my scouts.
Another person I'm gonna have to waste my influence on.
Me?
Well, I'm gonna have to. I'm gonna have to spend some influence.
Yeah.
It's like that doesn't necessarily mean I want to spend it.
But in order to do any kind of dealing back and forth, you have to use influence.
Yeah. All right. End turn. Oh my goodness. So yeah, I accidentally double booked myself for Wednesday afternoon at 3 o'clock, and then I realized.
Uh-oh.
Then my therapist called or messaged and said, "Can we move to Tuesday?" And that was when I realized I double booked. Like, oh yeah, that's perfect. Especially since tomorrow I may still end up. I may just do teleconference. I don't know. I don't know. It could be an excuse for us to all go to the mall. But with Groot, because I gotta take him. Okay, so make a choice. The new industrial movement on Vord is causing more problems than you would like. Oh, these people. I'm good. I'm a scientist. I'm going on this game. I'm playing science. A million things I haven't done. Back the upstart. 20% food is converted into dust for 10 turns. Greatly increases industrialist. Both of them increase. I guess the back the art.
Pink outpost. Pink is Horatio.
It's pink. You need to see a doctor. I kid. Okay, so let's flatter. Let's flatter you people. There we go. Okay. How long until you guys finish your production here? One turn. Okay, couple turns. So a couple turns. And we'll be able to... I'm keeping my fleet in the system because the pirates have to come through it, basically. Get to me, I think. And that way, if they come, I'm there ready to fight them. And then once I've got my two new ships, I'm going to go and try to take care of them. And then after that turn, we'll see what time it is. So yeah, I've been really getting angry to play Stellaris lately, but... Unlocked. I need to mine. What did I do?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
But yeah. Shift tab to pull up your overlay.
Shift tab. Oh, stupid. No, I don't need this. No, show me. I need to mine. Reach 100 bandwidth. Whatever that means. Diplomatic relation change with you show.
It's
cordial, amicable. I think it's because I increased something to amicable.
No. The bandwidth. It's talking literally. It's reading the ping rate on your internet connection on your PC.
You telling me this game gave me an achievement because I've got a good internet?
Correct. I haven't gotten that one. I've only gotten up to 90.
Yay, fiber.
Yeah, it's just a recognition of your fiber.
Yeah. The place we're going is also fiber, but it's not one of the big companies. So I'm getting rather ticked with AT&T right now because I think they're throttling Amazon.
Uh-oh.
Because I've been noticing lately that things that we play on the Fire Stick have been starting to skip a lot, or the audio desyncs. And yeah, last night I had to unplug and so and it's not internet speed. That's not the problem because I'll do the test. And I'll do when it comes to the digital Fire Stick, I'll test the Wi-Fi using the phone, and the phone is still getting 100 plus down, 100 plus up. It's like, so it's not the internet, it's AT&T is intentionally throttling things. And what I need to do is the next time it happens, I need to immediately switch over to their on-demand thing. And see if I can watch stuff clearly there. Because if I can't watch stuff clearly on Amazon Fire Stick, but I can watch something easily perfectly on their streaming service, then I know that's what they're doing.
Mm-hmm. I hate Amazon Fire Stick.
I don't mind it because we have the device.
The reason is I think that Amazon is one of those companies. Remember how Apple got in trouble for essentially making older phones crappy, like adjusting the software to make them seem crappier than they should be, to encourage people to buy new ones. I can guarantee Amazon does that, and it's like my Fire Stick used to be great, and then immediately after an update, it was just garbage.
Wait a minute, how do I see a message that went by already?
I don't know.
Because it says I'm the sovereign of something, but I don't know what.
Oh, probably one of those.
But where do I see them?
Well, it's probably one of your minor colonies. You can just click on their faction icon in the main map. I don't know of a way. You asked how you can pull up older messages, and I don't know of a way you can do that.
Them.
Oh,
Them. The U show.
yeah. So you can assist them now. Do you see how you have a new option?
Okay.
You have for both of them.
Generate 234 science per turn in one of your systems before 14 turns. Okay. And what's this one? With a level 5 or higher hero, search all quest curiosities on the included planets in the system Scorpius and Vorta. I hope that one doesn't have a time on it because holy crap, I don't have a level 5 hero.
It only has a timer if it says within X number of turns.
Yeah, I'm level 4. And is it Scorpius and Vorta? I think?
It's probably
There's one curiosity in Sahar. And... oh, there it is. Okay, quest. Okay, cool. I got it. So when he's level 5, I can get that one. Understand. I'm tracking. I'm tracking. So now we can colonize ice. What's next? Reveals and enables the use of wormholes. I think I'm going to colonize desert first.
By use, you can't make them.
Yes, reveals and yeah, you can if they exist. I got it. I'm tracking. I'm tracking. So I'm doing something new.
Okay.
People go with me or not. I'm going to be going to raid, and specifically, I'm going into raid streamers that I watch. That because I wanted to. I'm calling it Operation Raid. Because I'm going to go in and I'm going to tell them, you know, hey, I'm here, I see you, I recognize who you are and what you do for me, and I appreciate it, and then cite something specifically that they do. And whether people go with me to stream to just say something, you know, generically similar or not, that's how I'm going to end my streams.
Nice.
So, and I actually already started randomly doing it yesterday. So, oh, end of my turn. I clicked the button.
I will be done shortly.
This explains how that one in that previous game we were playing, how that empire got the Minor Civ world to join them. Because they were, she had some kind of influence over them. Oh, wait a minute.
Once you're at, like, I think it's either 75 or 100, you can also spend a crap ton, like 1,000 or more influence to just assimilate them. The quests are easier.
Yeah. Well, it says produce 200. One was produced 200 some odd. Current 234 science per turn in one of your systems before. So I got to figure out, where do I see this system? Is that 80? So 80 there. 84. This is going to be the one that I'm going to have to. Yeah, this is the one I'm going to have to get working on. It's 14 turns or more. Be the first to build the Wonder Endless Research. The green. The light green.
She's very trade heavy. Trade Wonder Piece.
So that's going to improve, but then it's going to... what does this do? +1 per cold on planet. Cold. War to 3. War to 2. There's no cold on this planet though, so this one is useless essentially. This one, I think I need to move this up. Click to change the planet type to Arctic. And that would help out with that.
So while you have that up, you can see what changes will happen. That'll become important as you research different things you can.
Yeah. I gotta get this system up, its science up.
Yeah.
Quickly. Trying to figure out how to do that most efficiently possible. Way too long. I suppose I could look at the laws and see if there's a way to pump that up.
Oh, I'm at pink. Oh, I knew that I'm at pink. It's already showed.
Honestly, I think I might actually be better off just doing the magnetic field generators first and then seeing.
Have you met Horatio?
No.
Okay.
I do not believe that I have. Gained population pilgrims. Science and exploration. Stage 4 rocked. Okay, so now what? What is that? Simple anomaly reduction. Not bad. This is ash. Yeah, we'll do that so we can get it out of the way. Completed that. Yes, with that. Good to go. Hey, Roland, how are you?
Howdy, howdy.
I'm doing okay now. My day has not been going fantastic, if I'm being polite.
Pretty rough earlier day. Like, I was very shocked that
I didn't cancel.
Yeah, but you needed, you've been.
Speaking of, just a second. Hello?
Is it? Oh. Is that a call?
Never mind.
Or not.
Stupid Chinese robocallers calling from Houston. I don't know who they are, why they think I need to talk to them. I don't even bother on them now. But hi, Spartan Roland. Nice to see you. I've seen you around. I appreciate you spending your time over. For that follow, I appreciate it. I really do. And just in case you're not told by anyone else today, Spartan, we appreciate you. Because we don't get told that enough in our lives.
No, there's for some reason.
But I can tell you, I am feeling better now. So, I know what part of my problem. Where is it? It's hiding under here. There it is. It's like, why am I having to look over at her screen where the chat bot is? I should have chat right here. Okay, so amicable to friendly. So they like me now.
Good. Good.
So economic consolidator of systems. 4 star systems in the same colonization. In the same. Now I'm having a problem with words. Constellation. That's the word.
Which is stupid because I have 4-star systems in my constellation, so I don't know why.
And it's not giving it to you.
Yeah, I'll bet somebody's.
Well, maybe someone else has 4.
Yeah.
No, it didn't. It didn't sound like it would take anybody.
Let me see.
So, I guess we'll do maximize exploitation so we can get colonized lava. Okay, so
if you open up your tech tree
mm-hmm.
and put your mouse hover over that consolidator of systems deed challenge, it says somebody else's achievement.
See, I do remember someone doing that at some point. It just didn't look like from the thing that I saw that it was done. But okay, so now enter construction queue. Oh, that's right. We got a colony here. Colonize this one. Unless I can do something pretty quickly. No, because I'm not going to be able to get this thing up to 234. But having some of these other things there before I finish colonizing the other one would be nice.
Yeah.
We'll terraform after we colonize the other one. Okay, so did that. Cool. That turn is done. Zippity.
I have to get used to playing somebody that uses food again, because the main even though like the other populations need food,
Yours doesn't.
Population for the Riftborn don't use food. Just like a
Still haven't seen your scout or anything. I know you're over somewhere.
I'm coming in from your full top up and to the left, but I'm not close enough for you to have seen me yet.
Top and to the left, so you're outside me?
Top and to the right, I'm sorry.
So I'd say, what? There's something out there?
No.
Coming from another galaxy, man?
I'm actually...
No wonder it's taken a long time.
Yeah, no. No, I'm too far out for you to have seen me yet.
Okay.
You do have pink neighboring you up and to the right.
Well, I don't have any star space lines up there, so...
No, so the space lines, the hyperlanes, will only... do not cross constellations.
Nice. Culture jam centers. So does that... This system's at 190. Yeah, so can I put that in? Heck yeah. It's gonna take 60 turns? Holy crap.
Yeah.
No, thank you. That's ridiculous. No, go back to that queue. I want to take that out. Don't need that right now. Completed magnetic field generators.
Nice.
And it's now they're colonizing. Those magnetic field generators do help. So that's probably going to be the thing that does that for that quest. Did that? Yes, thank you. Thank you. Okay, you are producing one more ship.
These stupid pirates.
Yes, one more turn. So once I have the ships that can hold the bodies, do they just go into it?
Hmm?
Was that when I have that has the ability to hold the bodies? You know, so like the ships with the improved capacity for holding landing troops.
Oh, yeah. So you have a total population. You have a total military population on your empire.
Mm-hmm.
It's in the top left corner of your screen. It's between the gold and
1K plus 70.
Influence.
Yeah.
The plus 70 is how many you're gaining per turn. Every time you build a ship, regardless of whether it has extra capacity or not, like the extra capacity is the landing parties. Every ship has crew that can land.
Okay.
It's just extra landing capacity.
Makes sense.
Modules.
Okay.
Every time you build a ship, it pulls the required crew.
But what about the ships that have the modules for holding extra troops?
That's what I'm saying. That's all that does is it adds to the total. Well, I mean, it does more than that, but it adds to the total required to build the ship.
Okay.
I'm saying that when you build a ship, regardless of whether it has that or not, it pulls all required military personnel from that Empire stock pool.
So are my ships going to be filled with troops?
Yes.
Thank you. That's all I needed to know. I didn't know if I needed to stop and go back and pick up troops or anything.
No, I thought I was answering your question.
I wasn't under.
Know.
Let's just today is not my day. Let's just assume it was my fault. Okay.
Fault is.
And if there's one thing I've learned, it's better to just keep asking the question until you get the answer that you need.
That's true. Yeah.
There are worse things. There are worse things that I could do. Just ask a simple question. It's like, because that's all. I didn't want to take the ship's built the next turn. I'm going to sit down to join this fleet, and then I'm going to send the fleet down to start dealing with these pirates. And I just didn't want to get there and realize, oh crap, I got to go back and pick up troops.
No, troops are in. So you're thinking of troops as separate from the crew? They're not.
They're not. You are
military personnel.
So when I slaved that module to that ship, the bodies went with it.
Yes. Yep.
Got it.
Now, as you fight, like on a ground battle, remember, don't just invade a system right away. Like, keep your ships in orbit to siege. Just like staying in orbit, you deplete their military population a little bit each turn.
Yeah.
And then once they're down to 0, then invade. But if you lose troops, then they'll slowly regrow over time. You can't like reload more troops on.
Yeah. So 4-2 has the quest. 3 is the one I can do. And 4-4. What was that? Radiation shield battle tactic.
Oh.
And reserves of proto orchard. Yummy, I guess. Hey, J. Kims.
Howdy,
Hey, J. Kims. Earlier today.
Lunchtime.
Yeah, earlier. Well, it's a little after that. But I was wanting to say that earlier today, I heard my wife talking to her parents about what I do here, and she mentioned the fact that people like you hang out here, and so I just wanted to say hi and acknowledge that you were here. I appreciate it. I know your time is valuable. So in case no one else tells you that today, we appreciate your time and that you're spending it with us. And how are you doing? To answer your question, I'm doing okay now. I'm doing better now than I was when we started.
It's been a rough day.
And let's see. Yeah, normally when we do this, is Cellist Mike going to make it?
But today it was like,
we decided to trade roles, reduce cheat costs.
Not that it was a given that I'd be here, obviously, but.
Oh yeah, because you went to sleep earlier, or you tried to. Hey, what was it? You tried. You what was it about 1:30? You said something about 1:30.
Just alarms. Try to make it. Oh, I woke up at 1:30.
Woke up at 1:30. Yeah, that was it.
I fell asleep at like 4. Woke up at 1:30.
I actually had 12:30 and had.
Snacks are good. Snacks.
I don't.
Why can't?
I'm gonna have a snack as soon as we. I didn't eat lunch. I only ate lunch before, but I focused on getting that work 15 minutes late.
Yeah.
Today it's worked out. I don't know. The rest of the week is just going to depend. I think they're leaving in the morning, so I won't have to deal with that. But tomorrow and Thursday, we'll just have to see.
Yep.
Maybe they'll go swimming during my stream. I have to getting up in the morning and getting straight to work without all the extra. I mean, as much as I disliked having to stop what I was doing because Art and Zoe were getting ready to go, then knowing that they were going to be getting up kind of kept me going through the morning, and without that there, it's been a little bit harder to keep myself focused in the morning, so I got to work on that. J. Kims, thank you for that welcome and encouragement. Been doing okay. Been pretty busy, just waitering, trying to make money. I got a couple months before I start my internship. Married to a person who is trying to work out her internship, I understand. It can be complicated.
It is a thing. Yeah.
She's maybe something will work out with this job she's applied for this coming year. Continue working with these kids, where she would be able to do her internship over summer and then continue on at the school She's not sure. So I'll have to see. Maybe do it at the school. We're not sure. But she's definitely pushed, because at this point she wouldn't even be able to start an internship until spring.
Oh, wow.
So delaying until next summer isn't that big of a deal.
Yeah.
But I wish you. But it says you say I got a couple months before you start, so it looks like you've got this. You're set to go. She's still trying to determine exactly where she's going. So if that's true, yeah, if that's true, good on you. That's one big step out of the way.
And the next thing you know, you'll be done with the internship, because by the time you, like, when you start and you're doing it. So my ex-wife was a therapist as well. Like, everybody's a therapist. And yet we never have enough because everybody's messed up.
Yeah, or the ones we have get burned out.
Yes. Once you're in your internship.
Self-care, Jacobs. Make sure that you do not sacrifice self-care for. If you have a job that doesn't prioritize that, consider finding a different one, or talking to them about it. Because if you burn out, what's going to happen? That's something.
That's probably if you're surrounded by therapists, and
probably preaching to the choir.
Yeah, they're like, yeah.
I know a lot of therapists who don't take care of themselves. They just don't.
It's weird because if you once you're done with your internship, well, even during your internship, you always have like supervisory staff.
Mm-hmm.
You have somebody that you're essentially is playing babysitter.
Yep.
And mentor and guide, like everything all in one. If they're not telling you take care of yourself,
yeah.
What the heck?
The job that I have still with the military, the entire reason it exists is because people don't take care of themselves, or their leadership doesn't realize how they aren't taking care of them. One of the two. And so we're doing this. I mentioned the class earlier that we attend Monday mornings. We're doing this thing where it's basically forming how you view work. We're seeing work as worship, another form of it, so that you do. So that it's easier to do, but it's easier to see the purpose of what you're doing. And I took issue with some of the things they were saying because he was talking to people like they were all the worker force.
Strange.
And I made a point of saying, of bringing up, look, there is a maximum fleet? There is a maximum fleet size.
Yes. So in the tech, you can get up to like 28. In the tech tree,
it looks like
I think it's all military. Anything that has that little satellite dish icon, like satellite receiver dish icon, adds to your fleet size capacity.
Okay, so creates a new fleet. Four is
four the maximum fleet size rate.
So would it be better to include my? It looks like, but my hero doesn't count as a.
Correct. He's a 0. He or she.
I need to see which ones. Anyway, that was just to finish what I was saying. I made a point of saying that one of the things that needs to change in shifting is how employers look at their employees as just a resource. That they just spit them up and chew them out, and when it comes to taking care of them, they see that as secondary. It's like, hey, it's your job to take care of yourself, and I disagree. I think that as a person who's put in charge of people, it is inherent in that position that you need to take care of them, because if you take care of them, they'll take care of themselves, and they'll do better at their job. And if that means you give them up for a half an hour extra at lunch because they need to take care of something, or you just make it a point of saying, hey, you're going to take 30 minutes, split it to 15 minutes twice a day, and you're going to go get away from everybody, and you're going to do whatever you need to do during that 15 minutes, smoke, exercise, whatever. Yeah, workforces would be so much better if employers all treated their employees like that, and the employees would want to be there. They would want to, because they'll feel like they're important, they matter. Okay, so this one has those guys. I think I'm going to take the detector, fleet for it, take this and this and this. There we go. Big facts. I think he agrees. Let's go this way. And so then the detector, I'm going to send it up here first for right now. You can always tell when you have an employer that cares. With the employees, they want there. When they don't, it just drains their productivity. It drains their desire to give you their best. That doesn't mean that you should always just bend over, for the employees. But I don't know. This is one of those things that if unions were still focused on doing just that, I'd be much more in favor of them. But for me, historically, unions have just been about taking the power that was in management's hand and sticking it in the leadership of the union's hands.
It's a pendulum. Power, like wherever power resides in any interpersonal relationship, whether it's a politics on a national level, state level, local level, whether it's unions versus employers, whether it's spouses, power always has this pendulum swing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's best for everybody involved when it's near the middle.
Yeah.
But yeah, so unions, when you have an employer that's very aggressive and very overbearing, not good for the people, then the unions will help. But then the union gets super powerful and everybody is at a detriment.
Yeah.
The union's running everything. And doing it essentially just having taken the place of the employer.
Yeah, it's historically been proven. Centralized power and control is never good. It always ends up being abused. Decentralized.
Not that anarchy is good.
No, not that anarchy. No, that there are some things that if you can get people to mutually agree upon, centralizing, you can. But you can't centralize all of it, because as soon as you do, you end up with tyranny. Mm-hmm. And there is no system that has ever been created on this planet that has succeeded in preventing that.
A dictatorial.
Yes.
Yeah, a super set. Yeah, that's like people talk about the power of the central federal government, but every time that's mentioned, there's the neglect in actually accounting for the role in governors can, you get half of the governors can petition the Supreme Court to essentially start an amendment to the Constitution.
Mm-hmm.
That's a state power.
Yep.
Amending the Constitution has to be done by the states.
I mean, the Congress can call for it also, but they still have to. But
even then, Congress is all represent both
mm-hmm.
houses of Congress are representatives of the states.
Yep.
Yes, it may be federal, but there's only, so much of our government is still run by the states essentially. Even federal government.
Well, and I think part of what you're talking about there's a general I don't want to say misunderstanding. In TV, there are a lot of mistakes made about what the government can and can't do for the sake of a premise. So there's for the example that I'll give. We are watching ABC Murders. It's based on Agatha Christie, with what's his name, Poirot as the detective. And interesting. Episode 2 was a bit rough for me because there was a lot of moral injury stuff. It's kind of fascinating, but there's how typical in these detective stories, the detective is usually someone who's not a favorite of the system, either because they intentionally are a jerk but get things done, or they're overbearingly smart. And so it's like think Sherlock, think some of your rougher Tumblr, like 20th century detective shows. The cops and the detective are never on the same page. the private eye detectives, not the cop detectives. That's different. But so this one is taken this interesting premise of the reason why he and the police are not on the same page is because there's this anti-immigrant mood in the British Empire, which is historically factual. And he's been living in England since he was driven out of Belgium by World War I. So, and this is post World War II. So he's been there a long time. But when the person who was his primary advocate started to fall out of favor because of his defense of this guy, they started doing some looking, and lo and behold, what did they find? When the Germans invaded Belgium, they burned all the records. So there was no evidence that he had been a policeman. And so they started, they basically just, without telling him, just, we'll, what do I want? Discourage duel. We don't want to deal with you. They would ignore him and things like that. And then even though he was there trying to tell them, hey, someone is playing a game and they are killing people and I'm trying to help you here, and they just wouldn't listen. So the person kept sending him letters in the story, and the police, and this is still first episode, and the police, next thing you know, showed up at his house and were confiscating everything because they said that he had been detecting on his own, and he had evidence. He was withholding evidence from them, and they were opening his mail and demanding that he turn over his mail before he even gets it. And they were like right there opening his mail. Now, the search warrant is for that day, so mail that's there, that there's a little bit of a gray line there with because federal mail in both the U.S. and Britain is protected. You cannot open it. It's a violation. With a search warrant, you have just reasonable cause to believe it, then you can, but you can't open all of the mail, just the mail that's you can
under the search warrant.
Yes, that you can defend as, but it belongs to the warrant. You have to be able
if
to.
Something is found as a result of the search warrant.
Yes, then it belongs. But I mean, but if the mail is lying there on the ground, if you looked at the mail and you could say, okay, we know he's getting these letters and he's shown us this stuff already, so we know that this mail is from the killer. You can open that. You could reasonably defend that to a judge or whatever. Say, yes, this is why we took this, and then it would be held up in court as evidence, right? But all the other mail couldn't justify. But they were standing there opening his mail and basically told him, you will give us all your mail and we will go through all of it before him because he's clearly sending stuff to you. It's like, no, you can't do that. Like that is beyond the scope. Even in England in the 1950s, you can't do that. Even if it's to someone who is not a citizen, that mail is protected. It's federal law, and even in Britain. But they were just, and that is so prevalent. If they just assume I'll go ahead and start this fight here. Let's see, turtling. Let me look at these ships. Energy and project. So they're all shields and projectiles. So it looks like turtle's going to be. Okay, so we'll let this go. It doesn't matter what show I'm watching. They just for the sake of their story, for the sake of their premise, they're constantly overblowing what the government can do. And so it does not surprise me at all that people don't really understand, because most people get most of their information from either social media or what they watch. Taking the time to research this, I joke around about how much of a waste my university time was, because in terms of what I got for it and what I did and stuff. One thing that I got for it that I appreciate is in the ability to discern sources and find sources and then defend them. Be able to to test them and then defend them.
Rather than just, this is somebody that sounds official, so it's true.
When I was doing my master's, the things that I saw people using as resources in their things, I was shocked that the teacher was allowing it. I could not believe it. I refused to use any resource if it didn't have a .gov, a .edu, or a .mil, or the foreign domain equivalents of those things. just would not touch them because you can just make things up. It is law to keep counseling sessions confidential, but a court order can overrule that for a release of information. That's true. Guess what? But there's even a limit there. If that counseling session is done by a minister, that you cannot. I think J. Kim's is in the US. The chaplain is,
Well, military chaplains are.
No, I'm just talking about chaplains, period, not just military chaplains. Chaplains, period. But no, there was a military chaplain who in Okinawa, who they call the investigative arm of the Air Force.
OIS.
OIS. They actually threw.
OSI, I'm sorry.
OSI, yeah. They threw a chaplain. They arrested a chaplain saying that he was withholding evidence, and he refused to tell them. And eventually, and he was court-martialed, and the court-martials, they threw it out, saying you can't do that. Like you cannot break. That is like absolutely protected by law. You are not allowed. He is not allowed to say anything unless the person gives him the express, written, and informed consent. That has to be those three things. It expressly states that this chaplain can talk about it. It shows that they are informed on what is being, and it's written and signed by that person and a witness and the chaplain. It is, and that OSI was just, they're like, we don't care, we're going to. And the chaplain went to jail, went to his court martial, and it took getting that far before someone finally told this commander at OSI, no, you have overstepped your bounds. It should never have gotten that far. But yeah, that was something they taught us. That was an example that it was in our chaplain assistant school things of this is how protect. So yes, J. Kim's, there is a protect. So if you have a counselor who is also a pastor, then nope. There is no law that can force them to. Now, if that pastor thinks that something needs to be said, that's. But
and the pastor can be investigated themselves.
No, see that's one of the things they like to do. They like to go around about it and try to apply pressure by saying to get them to, but that's also illegal. The people in the OS that in that particular investigation were severely punished.
Is like in today's day and age of the investigations into molestations and stuff by clergy.
Oh yeah, no, if they commit a crime, that's different.
Themselves can be investigated.
They aren't exempt. They aren't exempt from crime. It's that they
can't be forced to testify against somebody who's given them confidential.
Yeah. I think even if it's a counselor, non-pastor, there are certain things that protect confidentiality. I'm not sure. I think it's complex. Yes, it is. And the answer to all of those questions is look it up. Never speak until you've looked it up.
We live in the U.S. and so many things are under the discretion of whatever judge is looking at the case.
Yeah, but even a judge, if you can demonstrate, even in the face of the judge ordering, like the simplest answer is don't speak until every possible resource has been exhausted. Because when push comes to shove, there's only so much that judge is going to be able to do to you to try to force it. Because especially if you're pursuing the appeal through legal means, but like if someone's trying to order you to do something, I mean, for crying out loud, they can't force you to talk. They can throw you in jail, but they can't force you to talk.
Yeah,
and
worst case scenario, you get charged with contempt of court and thrown in jail.
I mean, there was potentially, but they still, but at that point they have to prove that you did it. You don't prove that you didn't do it. They have to prove. It's just like you don't have to prove that evidence doesn't exist. They have to prove that evidence does. No, and that's something that TV gets wrong. That it is assumed that you have to always prove the negative. It's not true. You have to.
No, I'm saying, listen. I'm saying.
And then I have a game question.
What I'm saying is, if you refuse to testify, and it's not an implicitly, like, if it's not like a Fifth Amendment protection, if it's not an implicit protection and you refuse to testify after you've been subpoenaed to testify, a judge can charge you with contempt of court.
Yes, they can.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, and you could go until someone bails you out. Yes,
Exactly.
but even then, if the judge does that and then it comes out, hey, guess what, judge? Then that judge is in huge amounts of trouble.
Exactly.
And that's why they don't like to touch this subject. Yeah. Okay, so J. Kims, thanks for hanging out. We appreciate.
Absolutely. Good luck.
And yeah, have fun. Go make lots of money. And we'll see you next time. So, in-game question: I moved my fleet into the tile where the pirates are, and now I have this option to invade.
Don't yet.
Yet.
Okay. Do you see where the name of the system is Scorpius? How there's a little icon just to the right of it?
Yes, it says 8 turns. Though that icon. Okay.
If you hover over it, it'll tell you the status of.
Okay, so 600 right now, -8 per turn.
Yep.
Okay.
The more troops or the more attack power you have, there are some modules that will allow for extra siege damage. Essentially, the more attack power the fleet has, the more damage you do per turn.
Okay.
So you really don't want to invade until you vastly outnumber their troops. Generally, just wait till it gets to 0.
Okay, that's fine. I can do that. I can build a couple more ships too.
Or research the planet breaker and just blow the planet up.
I can use the planet. Why would I blow a perfectly fine planet up? Look, just because you have overpopulation problems doesn't mean I have overpopulation problems.
Okay, so even right now, I can only colonize 2 more systems before I start getting approval penalties.
How many systems do you have colonized?
6.
I'm at 4. So, and I have this person down here who's at 5.
Yeah.
But one way, I've got these 2 right here, so it's potential for 6. So,
you will want to have, so pirate bases aren't really settlements. You can't just take it over like a normal world.
Yeah, I'm going to send a colony ship.
Yeah.
I'm not too worried about that just yet. I'm just contemplating whether or not I want to build some more ships.
Yeah. So I'm paused right now. The scout coming your way is kind of held up for a minute until my probes get further out, because I can't see a system to go to yet further towards you. So I have probes going out, but until I find another system to fly to, I can't continue.
I renamed this thing. Why? I won't let me.
You can't rename it.
No, I did, but it gave me the option when I first did it.
If you design one from scratch, you can name it. If you edit.
No, I created this one using that model, but I gave it a name, and then it changed the name to this. Like, this is one that I created from scratch, and I called it that.
Created a magnet.
I used the hull design, but I used that hull I didn't create a magnet. I gave it a name and everything. I don't need this.
Are there any other instances of that hull design in your ship options? Not the creation options, but the ones that you can build. Are there any other instances of that hull design?
I don't see one.
So what probably happened is that's the default, and you just didn't save your ship, one that you.
But it's got the modules that I put on it. Just take whatever. Go there. Don't want you.
You can also update existing ones. Just edit them. So that's the only way. So if you.
It was just more a matter of wanting to make sure I had the right name on it, so I knew which one I was building. I want to build I want to build a couple more.
The ones that you already have can never transfer. Like, they can stay upgrading within their own line, but they can never transfer, even if it's the same whole design, they can't transfer to one that you created.
Yeah, I understand. Okay, next step, elections, and after this, I think I'm gonna wrap it. So, thanks. It was a good show today. Next step.
Lots of strange, varied conversations.
As usual. The scientists are entrenched, the pacifists are established, and the industrialists are established. Need to breed, huh? So I have new laws. Shall we save at the beginning of this?
Sure thing.
Cool. So
I gotta take a loud break after that.
You do that, and I'll. You want to? Okay. All right. So, thanks everybody for coming and hanging out with me and my. What the heck? I don't know what this thing is doing. It's being weird. It's like I tapped to go to the scene and it just. So I had to tap it again. Sorry, apologize. Okay, so I'm going to wrap. I plan on streaming the rest of the week. We'll see how the next 2 days go with everybody here visiting. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for chit-chatting. Spartan, Roland, J Kims. Appreciate you all hanging out. The hosts earlier, as always. If there's anything I'm going to end, if I could wrap this up, to say, if you have someone in your life who's suffering from some kind of a mental health difficulty, just be understanding and be aware of how simple things can set them off. It may even if it just seems like it shouldn't. That doesn't. The rules aren't the same. So, and they will appreciate your effort. So, speaking of appreciation, I am going to go cast a host for Whoa Jess, and I'm going to go do an appreciation raid on her. I have a message that I will be posting in chat that goes something like this. I'll put her name in there, so you can just copy this and then add your own little text in there to right there before the thanks for every time I tune in. There's a gap there, so you can use this. You can use that text right there to post in her thing. But yep, I'm gonna go raid her and spread some appreciation for what she does, because I don't think we get enough of that in our lives. So I will be back tomorrow. And what is she playing? RimWorld. Yes, she's playing RimWorld. She's playing more of her no kill box Crescent Town. The Crescent Town looks so cool. I like it. So I will catch you guys tomorrow. Thanks for being here, and I will see you later. Bye.